The newly elected national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Adamu, has taken over from his predecessor. Now, the serving senator, who is a supporter of President Buhari, was also a former governor of Nasarawa State. Mr. Adamu received the mantle of leadership from the former chairman, Mai Mala Buni, at the party's headquarters in Abuja. Abdullahi has more.
After several postponements, the APC last weekend held its elective national convention at Eagle Square in Abuja. At the end of the exercise, 77 national officers emerged, with Abdullahi Adamu becoming the national chairman of the party, while Iyola Omishori was elected as the national secretary. Majority of them were elected through a consensus list adopted by President Buhari, governors and other leaders of the party. Of the 36 officers in the NWC, only 5 were contested, while the rest emerged through consensus. Newly elected national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Adamu, has been officially handed the leadership of the party. He urged other executive members to imbibe the virtue of loyalty to the party.
Failure is not going to be in our vocabulary from today. We will work for success by the grace of God. If any of you, my colleagues, have any problems with me, please don't begrudge me. Throw it out open. Let me know. I promise you the spirit of collective leadership, teamwork. I cannot deliver alone.
As members of the National Working Committee of this party, you have an Herculean task before you. First, to sustain the gains, and obviously, you know, the task before you is enormous. But that cannot be without problems here and there. But by and large, we have succeeded. We can say we have recorded 70% success.
Governor of Yobe State, Mai Mala Buni, who has been at the helm of the party affairs for about 22 months, handed over today. Mai Mala Buni had faced some challenges as the chairman caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the party in the last few months. The new leadership says it will effect lasting reconciliation among members so as to go into the general election a united house. Abdullahi, TVC News, Abuja.
And public affairs analyst Olufemi Lawson joins me now to discuss this. Good to have you join us.
It's my pleasure.
The new national chairman of the APC seems to be starting on a note of collaboration and teamwork. He made a statement like, if you have a problem with me, tell me. I'm talking to other members of the executives. But he also said the main task before him and the ESCO is the 2023 general elections. But do you think that that's the biggest task that he would have to undertake as the chairman of the party?
Well, the biggest ambition of any political party is to win elections. So that is not out of place for him to have made that statement. But we must take it from where it started from. The task of opening up, willing to accept corrections. And I think it's in the spirit of building a team, encouraging collaboration. And I think we must commend the previous leadership of Mai Mala Buni, who initially appointed Senator Abdullahi Adamu as the chairman of the Reconciliatory Committee of the party, to, you know, who have traveled all over the places to harmonize differences within the political party before the election. So I think it is in that same spirit that he has made that statement. And I think it's going to be a good one for the APC beyond the elections, to ensure that it travels the routes that the national chairman has set, to ensure that, you know, there is reconciliation, there's harmonization of interest, and that is the only way the APC can derive its strength in winning elections, as it is the ambition of every other political party.
But what about the party primaries ahead, the 2023 election? Isn't that supposed to be like the biggest task? Because, I mean, we see everyone who seems to be interested, first of all, in the presidency at the moment, and then for every state, we're also seeing diverse interest in various positions within the state. ABC did lose Zamfara in 2019 just because of party primaries. They also did lose Rivers State just because of party primaries. Do you think that perhaps might be the most challenging task ahead of Abdullahi Adamu?
No, expecting that there will be no conflict overall may become an impossible task. Politics is about interest. People would always have reason to disagree. But what the national leadership of the party must work towards is having the majority of its members aligning with the position and the ambitions of the party. What happened in Rivers and Zamfara, if you recall, was as minute as it could be, considering every other successes achieved by the party, in 2019. I think the national leadership must also begin to work towards ensuring that it harmonized all interests. The truth is that political interests will always divide political parties. But what is important is that majority interest and opinion must always be considered. And the option of what the party has done through the National Convention must be consolidated at the local levels. And I think it's not strange. We must understand that even the state congresses, in majority of the states where the party had the state congresses, national officers, including Lagos, emerged virtually through consensus. So I think that can be consolidated upon to produce candidates for the party in the election. The process of peace building is very elastic, it's limitless, and it must be explored by the party.
But even consensus, because you mentioned the issue of majority interest must be seen to be the order of the day, but even consensus is not necessarily the majority interest, because sometimes consensus is the governor of a state saying this is who I want, or the leaders within a state saying this is who we think can function well in the state, but not necessarily the wish of the people. So in this case, because party primaries are not just the convention, the primaries are usually the most contentious ones, how can the executive be seen to be fair? Because now we're already seeing alliances, and the more we get into the elections, we're going to see more alliances and interest.
Well, consensus is not alien, and even sometimes when people try to make it look like, oh, it's not democratic, then I think it's important we begin to remind ourselves. Because if you look at the last convention of the APC, a lot of people, including the main opposition party, the PDP, tried to create an impression of, oh, consensus is undemocratic, this and that. But the question is, between 1999 and now, every conventions of the major political parties in Nigeria have produced a leadership that is already known to members and Nigerians even before the elections, including the last convention of the National Convention of the People's Democratic Party that produced the Yochayu national executive. It's a tradition in our democracy, and not only in our democracy, even in other democracies. In Canada, in Europe, there are a lot of places you can go to where you find this system. And when you talk about the majority, what defines the majority? When a decision is taken and there's no major opposition to it, like we had during the last APC convention, nobody had gone to court. In fact, a few persons who showed interest in contesting few positions, like the National Secretary, National Youth Leadership, were prevailed upon, and they publicly came, to step down their ambitions. It means the majority of the people within the party considered to the option of consensus. So it becomes a majority opinion. It becomes unpopular when more people are opposed to it, when there are litigations against it, and of course, maybe protests, like we would have experienced on Saturday during the APC convention. So I think the final majority depends on the outcome of that decision. And I think so far, the consensus options had worked. It has worked for the APC. It has even worked for, in fact, most of the small political parties in Nigeria don't even elect their national officers on the basis of election. So, we should not make it look like it's abnormal.
Of course, it is. If it's within the party constitution, it is legal. Yeah. But the point is, and this is, we're ending now, because people are saying it depends on how the APC plays cards during the primaries. Yes. It might just be sitting power to the PDP if it is not careful. But we'll see how things play out in the primaries and ahead of these executives. Thank you so much for talking to us. Public Affairs Analyst Olufemi Lawson.
It's my pleasure.